going to be doing another color challenge for Copic Marker Australia. I love these challenges where I basically create an artwork using a specific color palette chosen by the Copic Marker Australia, and they do a bit of a competition with this. So we're gonna get into it and we're gonna have a lot of fun and we're gonna try it out. So if you couldn't tell already from the title and thumbnail and also that footage, the color challenge today is yellow and green. Now this is a perfect color choice because it is starting to get into summer here in Australia. It's getting pretty hot. I'm not liking it, but we're gonna deal with it. But yeah, yellow and green are actually a really nice color combo, and the first thing that I actually thought when I seen those was a lemon tree. Now I didn't want to just do a lemon tree because, I don't know, I kind of like to do portraits and that kind of thing, so I decided to go with a cockatoo in a lemon tree. Now if you don't know what a cockatoo is, what are you bloody doing? And also, cockatoos are an Australian animal. They're native to Australia and they're actually quite funny. I love them. Now, as you can see from this footage here, they're actually quite friendly and funny, I think. Some people don't like them, mainly because they can be a little bit cheeky and, you know, eat your fruit trees and get into your bins sometimes, but they're really smart, really long-lived and beautiful creatures that I love. So I really wanted to get into drawing one of them today because that's sort of what I think of when I think of summer, and yes, this is sort of like a good excuse for me to draw a cockatoo because I love cockatoos. Now this footage here is actually from my friend Matt, who is my boyfriend's brother. He lent me this footage, so I'm glad that I was able to get this because look at these guys, they're awesome. Even though they're wild animals, they are pretty friendly and they will eat from your hand if they trust you, and I just think that that is so awesome. So back to the art. Now you didn't see me do the initial sketch mainly because it was a very quick sketch and the line art phase isn't really that different from the sketch at all. The main difference is the colors because I decided to use pencils in a few different colors for the line art, which was a little bit more of a simple, less noticeable line art. I have been doing a lot of like dark and bold digital line art lately, so I really wanted to do like a sort of soft illustration, something a little softer, slightly more realistic, but not really realistic because it's still an illustrative sort of style. So I decided to go with mainly just a green for most of the colors of the line art, and then yellow for obviously the lemons and obviously parts of the cockatoo that are yellow. Now I started off with just using mainly my greens because I wanted to sort of do the background, and I sort of just gave them all of the leaves sort of a once over pass with the colors. Now I used mostly all of my green colors for this, trying to mix and match and use some lighter tones and darker tones, more bluey greens and more yellowy greens, just to try and get a nice sort of variety of different colors in the leaves. I really love drawing trees like this because it gets it, I don't know, it just gets it a little bit more interesting and it looks nice with all that contrast in there. So yeah, a few different colors I actually used were process green, grass green, pea green. There was a whole bunch of other ones too, but I can't really remember them. But yeah, moving on. I mainly did a once over with those, and then I came back in with another layer of colors just to sort of just soften it a little bit, get the colors a little bit more bold and you know, just sort of flat and less patchy, because sometimes with markers you do have to sort of layer over a little bit. And yeah, when I did that, I actually went in with the background behind the leaves and I used my darkest green color, which I think is pine tree green, and I decided to use this because it would add a nice sort of shadow color. It would really push the shadows in this, and also it sort of looks like the sort of darker parts of the inner parts of the lemon tree. And yeah, I'm actually quite happy with how that looks. I think it looks pretty cool. It does have a soft sort of painterly feel with almost non-existent line art, but I really do like it. It does give it a sort of a different sort of softer feel. Now moving on to the lemons, I actually used quite a few different colors. I first went over with some canary yellow just to add a little bit of a light highlight, and then after that I went around that with a sort of a softer yellow. I think it was a cadmium yellow, and then after that I actually went over with some slightly more brighter, a sort of darker, more saturated yellowy sort of tones that were leaning a little bit on the orange side, just so I could get some nice deep shadows, and that was golden yellow, I believe. And then after this I went over with my pale yellow just to sort of soften those sort of bright yellowy colors and blend it a little bit more, get it a little bit more yellow instead of orangey hue, because it was starting to look like the lemons were oranges. But yeah, I just sort of fixed the hue of that and I'm pretty happy with the results. Now for the dark part of the cockatoo, I had to layer a few different colors over because I couldn't really get a grey or a black, so I decided to just use my darkest yellow, which was the golden yellow, and then after that I layered over the darkest green, and then I used a sort of more sort of desaturated Lionette gold color to sort of soften the sort of brightness of it, and I got it to a nice pretty dark color. It definitely looks green, but it kind of looks like it's like a black that's sort of reflecting the greens of its environment around. Now with that Lionette gold color, it is a very sort of soft desaturated yellowy goldy color, and I decided to use that color to sort of outline and subtly shade the cockatoo, because these guys are white. Their feathers are mostly white except for the sort of crest on the top of their head, and I decided to use that color because it was the least saturated color that I had. And I also used a little bit of pale yellow just to sort of blend that out a bit, and it really does add a nice sort of like I wouldn't say a highlight, because it is sort of, you know, the white is the lightest part, but it does give it a sort of a brightness to it and makes it look like it's part of the environment. Maybe the sun is hitting this cockatoo in some places and it's getting a sort of a warm hue to it, and I actually really like that. I think it looks pretty good. So now I'm just going over the leaves and adding in a little bit more detail here and there. I added that sort of line in the middle of the leaf where the vein would be, and just some little shadows and highlights here and there just to sort of, you know, push the outline of the cockatoo a little bit better. And yeah, after that I went over with my white gel pen just to add a little bit of texture to the lemons, as well as to the like highlights to the beak, just to try and, you know, push that detail a little bit more. And after that I used a very soft sort of pale cobalt just to sort of cool down those highlights a little bit on the cockatoo. And then after this I went in with a pale yellow to do the sky. Now I couldn't do blue, but that's okay because I did a pale yellow and it kind of looks like it's sort of a bright day. Maybe it's starting to get to sunset or something like that. And yeah, I'm really happy with the results of this artwork. I think it looks really cute and I love the look of the cockatoo. I think it's adorable, and yeah, it's a sort of a soft illustration. Maybe you would see this hung up in someone's kitchen or something like that. I kind of see it that. So anyways, here is the final results of this illustration, and I had so much fun drawing this. It was a nice sort of change because lately I've been doing a lot of sort of character designs, sort of like you know, bright bold colors and the soft colors of this illustration with the sort of nice little bird hanging out. It looks really good and I really like it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and check out my other videos if you're interested. I have a whole range of arty, crafty sort of videos for you guys to watch. And yeah, make sure you hit like and subscribe to get your scribble fix in the future. And I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.